Thanks, everybody. I want to apologize for the smell in Historic Courthouse this morning. That was part of our asbestos removal down in the basement. And so they did that over the weekend, so we didn't have to smell that the whole time. And it's beautiful weather today, so we'll do our best to vent it out. But the tile is gone. The mastic or the glue under the tile is the part they had to use the smelly stuff for. And if you think it's bad now, I'm sure it was worse yesterday and the day before. But anyway, we're going to vent it out as best we can, and that's the end of it. So until we get to the other side of the assessor's office, that's the end of the smell. But this morning, Sydney Allen is going to present to you on the NACo Leadership Academy. Sydney comes to us. She was actually an intern here in 2013. And so she spent about a year as a regional planner for Casinger Basin Regional Planning Commission, and about 6 years running the city of Bolivar. And she's been here for about 2.5 years now. Time flies when you're having fun. But it's my great pleasure to introduce to you our planning director, Sydney Allen.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I am here today to talk about the NACo, which is the National Association of Counties, and the Professional Development Academy, and the course that I was so fortunate to participate in over the last, well, it started in September, we ended in January. And so I'm just here to tell you all about it. I think there is opportunity in the future for other Greene County employees to participate potentially in this course. And I can't say enough good things about how it went and what I learned and what I took away from it. So I will share just a little bit of that with you. And then if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those as well. So the course is, like I said, put on by the National Association of Counties in conjunction with the Professional Development Academy. General Colin Powell is kind of the face of this course, and they use a lot of his kind of insights and life lessons and information from him to kind of put this course together. They take a lot of information from other top tier executives from other Fortune 500 companies. But really General Powell is mentioned, I mean, every single day throughout this 12-week course. And I have a link. This is they put out a little 2-minute video that kind of talks about the course. And so I figured we'd show that real quick.
It's critical that we have staff members in the queue ready to step up and take front line and even managerial positions. And the best way to do that is through leadership training.
We should look for a young professional within our employ that were going to be with the county for a considerable amount of time and that had the leadership potential. So we selected department heads, we selected somebody within the state's attorney, and we selected a building and ground superintendent of all people. And those 3 individuals have coalesced around this program, but also have made suggestions from each other's perspective within their respective areas.
The High Performance NACo program that has been rolled out has been an awesome opportunity for many of the different counties, Grant County in particular. One of the best things about it is that they can do it right from our home county.
I think the best thing that I see from this online leadership program is it allows the opportunity to work from home or work from their workplace at home, and they don't have to travel to go to these institutions or something to learn this experience. And there's also the peer group that they work with so that they understand, a little bit more about it.
Even though our job is to coach as leaders, the funny thing about this program is you need to break that down so that you can be coachable yourself. That requires developing what they coined in this program, managerial courage. And so the first step is if you can develop that courage and say, I can do better, I want to do better, then you can get past that first hurdle, then you can do the program.
So that is their kind of just 2-minute spiel about the program. And they mentioned pulling different people from different departments and things. And that is something that I truly believe this course is good for. So whether you are in a supervisor role or you're not and you want to be someday, this course really gears you up for having the confidence to do that. And I will say several times it made me sit there and like take a step back and say, am I doing these things? How can I improve? So while it's teaching you or helping you to be a better leader yourself, there were lots of moments where you also kind of sit and look inward and think, oh my goodness, I'm not doing that. Or I can improve in these 3 categories 100%. So that part was great. It was designed specifically for the unique challenges and opportunities of serving in county government. A lot of General Powell's examples are military-based. However, everything he says can be translated into working for a county and just working with people in general. So a little bit about the course. It is a 12-week course. It's all online, which is super nice. You can do it anywhere. It's a combination of different readings, recorded sessions, webinars, and small group discussions. There are 2 live webinars each week, and I think in my class, there were just about 200 people that were participating in that session. And then they break you down into cohorts where it's anywhere from 10 to 20 people in your smaller group. And so for me, every Thursday was the webinar with the cohort. And after you talk to those people for, once a week for 12 weeks, you start to have a working relationship with them and feel like you can bounce ideas off and ask questions. And they tend to put, like if there are several people from one county, they'll put you in a group, but then they do mix you up. So there were folks from Arkansas and I think Virginia in my cohort. So it's cool to hear kind of perspectives from different parts of the country. And then also they weren't all planning and zoning directors. There were public works or there were in my group specifically, they were the health department and the prosecuting attorney's office had some folks in there. So hearing their perspective from just the different departments and divisions within county government was really enlightening also. And then every Friday there is a whole course webinar. So everybody gets on and each cohort selects a person and you kind of just tell the rest of the group what you chatted about. So they give you prompts and they give you questions that you are supposed to talk about with your smaller group. And then everybody comes together on Friday and discusses those things. And like I said, just hearing other people from other parts of the country, other departments is really interesting. And I looked forward to those throughout the weeks. So like I said, it's all online. They give you a dashboard. So this is what kind of when you log on, this is how you keep track of your assignments. So every single day, Monday through Thursday, you have different things that they expect you to do. And like I said, it could be reading, it could be watching videos, it could be just they give you a prompt and you're supposed to think about it. But one of the major things that they kind of want you to do throughout the entire course is come up with an oath for your personal leadership and then think about an oath for your division or your department or the group of people that you're leading. And so to me, it seems like everything at the end of each specific lesson kind of came back to how are you going to use these things and put forth the information as a leader. But you can see once you do it, it checks off. It will tell you how long to expect to work on one assignment. So for time management, that's really good. You can log in the morning and say, okay, I've got 45 minutes of assignments. Here's how I'm going to kind of carve them up throughout the day. And then everything is there the whole time. So I had a week where I literally did one 5-minute assignment and I couldn't find time to do the rest. Got on Thursday, did the cohort, got on Friday, and then that Friday afternoon went back and was able to go through the assignments. So you don't have to do them on the exact day that they are there, but they do expect you to complete all of them in order to essentially graduate the class. So that's kind of what the dashboard looks like. And then they focus on 5 essential skills to lead, to organize, collaborate, deliver, and communicate. And I'll touch on this in a couple slides, but I really feel like the communication aspect was the major takeaway from the entire course. You can put in the importance of communication into the other 4 of those essential skills. And so with each lesson, it kind of brings it back to, how are you as a communicator? Are you able to communicate with your folks? Are you able to accept communication back to you in the form of feedback or criticism? And then how do you turn that around to make it a positive effect for the people that you're leading? So I mentioned that General Powell is referenced, and really the course is a lot about him and his work. But also Dr. Marshall Goldsmith is mentioned a lot, and he has his own specific 8 rules of leadership. And so throughout the course, they kind of go back and forth between Dr. Goldsmith and General Powell, and how each of those gentlemen sees leadership and kind of how they were able to be so successful. And so these are Dr. Marshall Goldsmith's 8 rules from leadership. They don't go through each one, but they often ask you to choose kind of which one speaks to you the most. I like, don't hide from the truth you need to hear. I think in a leadership role, it's really easy to try and put blinders on and not listen to the hard stuff, but that is your job, is to listen to the hard stuff and then help people move forward and get through it. But those are his 8. And then they, like I said, a lot of it is about General Powell. They really talk about his book that he wrote, It Worked for Me in Life and Leadership. And while this is all leadership based, everything I feel like you can take and apply just to your personal life as well. So many things you stop and you're like, oh my goodness, this applies to X, Y, and Z outside of the office, outside of work. And I think it's just really good. So his 13 rules of leadership are here, and it's kind of small. But like I said, they can also be applied in life. He talks a lot about get mad, then get over it. I think obviously in a military situation, it's probably a lot more prevalent, but I also know, I mean, we all deal with frustrating things every single day as county employees. And so be able to sit with that anger for just a minute, let yourself get through it, and then move on is a good skill to have. And then share credit was also something that was one where I definitely took a step back. You know, there are so many people that are doing little pieces of the puzzle that, you know, are such a big deal. And as a leader, you can't present that puzzle without all of those people doing those things. And so making sure that your team feels valued and they get the credit that they deserve for doing all of those things is very important, and something that I will continue to work on. But definitely throughout this program, again, lots of times where you sit and you think, okay, am I doing this? How does my team view me as a leader? What can I do to improve and to empower them to do their best work for the county? And then Rule 13, well, I think it was Rule 12, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. I think we spent almost a full week on this one. But basically, really just believing in yourself, believing in your purpose, and then demonstrating passion and confidence. If you do all of those things, eventually your team's going to start to pick up on that. And so making sure that you are empowering your folks and and giving them those abilities to feel confident and believe in themselves, it will just make everything work a little better. But they gave several examples of terrible situations where you could go into it with a negative attitude, but if you changed your way of thinking and went in it optimistic, it can change the complete outcome of how the process goes, and what your end outcome will be. And then also be grounded in your view of the future. So as a leader or just as an employee, making sure that you're confident in what you want to accomplish and how you're going to get there, again, is kind of contagious, and you can spread that to the rest of your group, so that they also believe and are grounded in their view of what the future of the department or, a project is going to look like, so on and so forth. And then I kind of touched on this earlier with the 5 essential skills. Again, they really talk about communication, and the art of communication is the language of leadership. This was another week where I feel like I learned a lot, and I think anybody that has to talk to people, so pretty much everybody that works in county government, would benefit from what they had to say. They really focused on how important communication is when you are initiating a change. So whether that is in my specific division, whether we are changing a process or how we do something internally, or when we are putting forth a new regulation that will affect the citizens, being able to communicate effectively and I lost my train of thought. Being able to communicate effectively will just make the process easier, and making sure that you can also receive communication. So we all hear from angry people, and it's really easy to brush that off and just, they're angry and it is what it is. But digging down to try and figure out why they are so angry. Is it something that you or your department caused, and is there room for growth and improvement from that one thing that potentially made that person angry? And then also being able to accept feedback from your team. So if you have a group of people that you lead, they should feel comfortable enough with you to say, hey, this isn't working, or I really need some extra support in X, Y, and Z. And so being able to accept that and know that everybody's human and everybody's got different things that they're working on, really can help make a good leader, having the open communication line with your team. And so they say 1 team, 1 plan, 1 goal. That should be the goal of every county division or department. Everybody working together on the same plan to accomplish the end goal. And then throughout the 12 weeks, there are lots of other kind of like mini lessons, measuring performance, the power of mindset, empowering your people, process for effective change, communication barriers, influence and motivation, insights on negotiation and the mutual gains approach, managing conflict, which was a big one, and definitely lots of good pointers. Again, we're all human. We've got several different types of personalities and way people learn that are trying to work together. And so knowing how to manage potential conflict is really beneficial. And then crucial conversation, and then the idea that kindness works. And if you, at the end of the day, if you treat somebody with kindness, you're most likely going to get reach your end goal, as opposed to handling it any other way. And then another quote that they say throughout the course that really stuck with me is, you bring the weather. So as a leader, or even just a coworker or a friend or a parent, I mean, you bring the weather. So if I walk in here every day and I am grumpy and just not in a good mood, that is going to radiate to the rest of my team. And then that will then radiate to the citizens that we're trying to help. So my goal is to come in as sunshine every day and spread that to my team as well. And we all are going through things. Everybody's got lives, and it's hard to sometimes leave that at the door. But if we can all bring in the sunshine and kind of let that trickle out into the rest of our office, and then that then trickles out to the citizens of Greene County that we are here to serve. I think it's a win-win at the end of the day. So you bring the weather. I think I didn't bring it down, but they also send like a little sticker that says that as kind of just something to help you remember that really in an office setting, especially, you do set the tone for your people and how they're going to kind of handle the day, and then on a bigger picture, how they're going to handle change and handle just their everyday duties with helping make the county run smoothly. So that is a general overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. Yeah.
We allowed to ask Kevin how you're doing at bringing the weather. That's not really my question. I was wondering if you had any additional insights. So I snapped a photo of the 13 rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number 4 says, don't let adverse facts stand in the way of good decisions. I know you've been through a ton in this course, and this is just one little thing.
Yeah.
You may not have any additional insight on that, but do you remember any examples, or could you expound on them?
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of General Powell's examples are from his experience in the military and then working on a federal level within the government. So I believe a lot of his were in the field dealing with, you're getting information from people may or may not be true. And so I think that's also relevant in an office setting. You could hear from, so-and-so that they heard in the break room that this is going on. And then, or you thought you heard from a conversation that there was a change coming. And so I think the bottom line is just don't let those negative opinions or facts, if they are in fact a fact, kind of stand in the way of what you feel is a good decision to make as a leader and for your team. But I think, in this book, he goes through each one and talks about, kind of his experience and how he came to make that a rule. But I believe in his experience, it was mostly military and not letting, things that are coming through the ranks affect your ability to make a good decision.
Can we go back also to that slide that had the 8, the other guy, the marshal guy that he had? I wanted to get a picture of that.
Oops, wrong button. So close. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable sharing your personal goal for yourself and for your office once you are a leader? Or?
Yeah. So I will be honest, I struggled because I felt like every single week I would be like, okay, this is my leadership oath. And then I would learn through that week so many other different things. And I'm like, okay, well, this is not sufficient. This is not what I want to do. So in complete transparency, I have not settled on what I want my oath to be. We as a department have worked together and we are almost to the point of finalizing a mission statement for the Planning and Zoning Division. It's a lot easier for me, honestly, to think about our group as a whole and how we want to kind of run our division and how we want to handle changes and dealing with the public and things like that. So was a lot easier for me to sit down with my people and say, what do we want to accomplish? How do we want to be viewed? And what's a mission statement we can create to send out so everybody knows why we're here and how we're going to help you. So that one it's not finalized yet, but it's close. And then we are excited to kind of put that out in the world. But I have not settled on my own leadership oath. I think, I feel like every day even I come in and kind of face a new challenge or a new personnel issue or something. And I'm like, I need to go back because that specific oath that I thought I was settled on doesn't necessarily fit in this sense. So while I think it's good to have a leadership oath, I think it's also ever changing, because as you progress in your career or you're going through different things with your team, you're going to experience things that might change the way that that oath looks. So I don't have that.
We have just a few minutes.
Yeah.
But with a commission.
Let's give Sydney a hand.
Thank you, Commission, for letting me
you.
take the course.
You didn't know we were going to do this, but you did know that I had your certificate because
I did, yeah.
But we wanted to frame it
Thank you.
and we wanted to present it to you on behalf of the county and on behalf of the NACo Board of Directors. Congratulations on your
Thank you.
graduation.
Thanks.
And just for a little bit of fun,
Oh, no.
I also brought my pom-poms. So everybody, 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Sydney!
Thank you.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, let's hold. He wants to stand in front of the podium.
In front of the photo. Okay. You gotta do something after a 3-day weekend.
To be honest, I was nervous when I saw the pom pom.
I'm just ready to bring something else.
Scared now.
Full admission here.
We'll say this about Sydney, though. We deal a lot with planning and zoning, and not every time do people get the decision that they were looking for. But without exception, every person has said Sydney and her staff have treated them well. They've been heard. And even if they didn't get the decision they'd hoped for, they left feeling that they had been well taken care of by Sydney and her staff. So.
One thing that I'm sorry, Bob,
Go ahead, sorry.
One thing that just continually, I noticed going through this presentation is you just kept referencing the citizen and how this helps the citizen. So I really appreciate your dedication to serving the county. I think this is a great investment in yourself and the county and therefore the citizens that we serve. So
Yeah, thanks. That's why we're here.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Oh, yeah. Planning board.
You will be. Yep.
Were there any other questions? Okay. Thank you all. Yeah.